Yo, yo, yo.
Yo.
So, I think this may be, I'm with Lord James here. I think this is the funniest, this is a camera.
Lord James and Prince Mike.
Lord James, Prince Mike. So basically I was talking to my cousin and she was saying we should start a channel related to like paranormal, and that's positive, negative, interesting stuff, spirituality, everything in between. But I actually have a few friends that, like this guy right here, who have had to deal with that, you know, for most of their life.
I'm damaged.
This guy's damaged.
Very damaged.
Yeah, but he's tough. This guy's got character, man.
Every moment awake is torture.
That's basically it. But yo, Jim, so, this is funny. We're literally standing like in my room holding a camera. Like this is how it's going down. Like this is the starting point of the channel.
This is called
low budget. That's basically it. So anyway, Jimmy, can you tell me about your experience? Road to Sundance. So Jimmy, can you tell me about your experience? Because I know it, but I want to tell everybody else about it. Should I do one of these? Focus on Jimmy.
Here.
Can you see yourself?
Yes.
Oh, do you like seeing yourself, right?
I mean, for the most part,
yeah, I
don't like how I look right now, but well, it's not your fault. That's all me.
Okay,
that's my demon to worry about.
Demons. Speaking of demons,
let me grab my bottle of whiskey. I'll take a swig.
Okay. Okay, we'll be back.
Gather round.
Gather round.
I'll tell you a story about when my life fell apart.
Story of a young James.
Okay, so
a young James. Okay.
Let's see. Because there's a lot of stories. There's a lot of like different instances when I was a kid.
What's the first one that comes to mind, basically?
The first one that comes to mind is probably is the one that's the most inarguable, because with most people like that have like ghost stories and stuff like that.
Right.
It's always from when you were a kid, including me. So even if the memory is vivid and like you can't really invalidate it, there's always a room for like doubt that like, okay, like I was looking at it through a child's eyes, so you know how
legitimate,
how credible is the memory. But this one's the most credible because I remember it exactly. I was in the backyard. I forget how old I was, but just really young, and shit.
So he had whooping cough.
Well, yeah. I'm getting over it.
He's getting over it.
It's not contagious, by the way.
It has nothing to do with the demons. You guys are not gonna get over the camera.
You guys aren't gonna get sick.
You're not gonna get me.
You're not fucking here. Anywho, so I'm in the backyard and I'm playing with the dogs like I always did because I didn't have any friends, so I played with the dogs. And
you were homeschooled, dude. That's not your fault.
Yeah,
it's not your fault. Your parents, you guys lived in a faraway place in Portage.
I make jokes. But I had a fantastic childhood.
Yeah,
my parents made sure that they were great parents.
They were amazing parents. I love those guys. Hello, guys.
Except for the one time they like beat me. No.
I had one of those too. No, it's a joke.
That one time where like they had the cat, they're like, you want it? Like, but anyway, so like I'm playing with my dogs, and I don't know, like I think it was Copper and Tina maybe, and they were like running around, and I was alone for a second, and I was in the backyard, and I heard it was like as if you're standing right here.
Gotcha.
And the side note, the reason it's so credible to me and the reason it's so vivid is because it's not like someone just said something in my ear. It's so detailed. It was a man's voice. It sounded like a middle-aged, like well-grown like man, maybe like 30s or something. I don't know, like a man.
A man.
And starting to say a word, but like not being able to finish it. So like starting to say a word, but like getting cut off in the middle. Like wires got crossed or something. So
how old were you at the time again?
At least under 10.
Under 10. Yeah.
I was little, little enough where something that crazy can happen and you don't tell anyone about it and you don't think about it for more than a few minutes.
Right.
You know, where if that happened to me now, like we're like. So the sound was like, you know, a man, and it was like basically just, you know, if you were to say a word and gets cut off, like that, like something like that.
Right.
But it was completely. I mean, it was someone saying something right here. And I remember to the point where I like looked around and I again, as a kid, you don't know what to do with the information when it's presented to you. You're just like, where if it was now, you know, you'd see somebody, you'd do research, you'd be like, this just happened to me. I'm never gonna forget it, you know. But as a kid, you're just like, oh well, I'm gonna go play. That was weird.
Did you call out to it or say hello?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so there was that time, and it happened again. I remember, and it was weird because I also, there's been times in my life where I debated with if maybe I've had a touch of, because I got mental problems, not crazy mental problems and depression and stuff like that, but like, you know, not more or less than anyone else, but there were times like that where later on I would think like, what if I have like just like a very, very light touch of schizophrenia.
I wonder if that's possible. I'm not an expert in that field.
Yeah, I mean, it's all assumption, but like,
right.
Because you know, there's times where like, you know, like, where I felt legitimately insane, you know, and you know, so I've thought about that, like, what maybe I just grew out of it because I also had blackouts when I was little.
Yeah.
But then I remember, I don't know how long ago after this it was. Then, I don't know. Could be a week, could be a month, but I know it happened again. And this time it was in the front yard. And I was out front, and the way that the house was back then, when my parents would be pulling out the car, they would have me like go by the gates because we had giant 6-foot cedar gates with like iron stakes that would.
Can you give a quick description of like where you used to live, because it is very interesting. You know, your parents were very aware that they had to make sure this area was safe for you guys. You guys had big dogs.
It was it was near Gary. The address was the city of Gary, but near Miller Beach. It was all woods, all woods, and on a main road that like semi trucks could go down.
And you described that road as, you know, in the pet cemetery.
Yeah, exactly. Because it was the demise of many of my dogs, and throughout my childhood.
If you guys are familiar with the movie Pet Sematary, there's this road that just
demolishes
life.
Yeah, and that's what that road was to me. But so it was that, like, so very, I don't know, it's hard to describe because it was a paradox. It was scary to my parents because of where we lived, and times where it was super scary to me, but the woods and just the way it was, and the dogs and stuff like that, it was like a playground though.
Right.
So it was mostly,
you were left alone, kind of.
Really, the only darkness and legitimate fear I would ever have as a child was when I was in the house, not outside. It was always when I was inside. So anyway, so there's that. So.
And quick, I was just going to interject, you had some big dogs. Can you just, quick description, because I know it's not super related, but they looked after you, they protected you.
Yeah. Copper mostly, he was a Mastiff, Old English Mastiff, and he was, and his weight it is worth noting, he was 267 pounds.
Jesus. Bigger, like 3-4 times a you maybe, yeah, at the time.
37 pounds more than I weigh currently.
Jeez.
So imagine having a dog like that, and you're like.
Jim's a big dude too. If you see him in real life, this is not doing him justice.
But and like, so like, imagine you're like a 6-year-old kid.
Yeah.
You know, whatever, like, and a tiny kid at that, because I was. And then you got a dog like that, like, you know, it's crazy. You don't even have a dog at that point. It's like some kind of mythical guardian.
It is, yeah.
And also with dogs that big, there comes an incredibly human personality that you don't get with small dogs. So it's just a giant, lumbering, completely self-aware just being. And then Tina was our other dog during the same time we had him, and she was older. She was a Newfoundland, and she was like a protector type too, but she was like also kind of, when I was a baby, she was like, I guess she was like, had some jealousy, but then as I got older, she turned into another sort of
good friend of yours,
mothering type.
Yeah.
And also they were like, her and Copper were like
inseparable.
Yeah. So anyway, besides that, I'm at the gates, opening them up because when my parents would like bring out the car, I open up the gates, and then they pull out, and then I would close the gates again, and lock it and put the stakes down, and so I'm doing that. Probably longer of a description than I needed to do for that, but
no, it's all right. I mean, this is kind of, I'm interested in capturing the atmosphere of your childhood.
Yeah.
And in the good respect, obviously, but there is like a mystery about it. It's fascinating to me. And when this kid in this place with these dogs, it just kind of creates this atmosphere.
Yeah.
So I like hearing that.
Yeah, it was a very like Little House on the Prairie sort of feeling, like sort of isolated feeling. Not in a bad way for the majority, because as a kid you adapt to what you're used to,
Right, you do.
You don't even think about it. But especially if you got good parents.
Yeah.
So I'm standing there, I'm waiting for my mom to pull out the car, and then same thing happens, except this time it's a woman's voice. It's a high woman's voice, and again, it's like it was yesterday. Like it's like it was like inarguably real, like where it's not like a noise, like where you hear a noise kind of sounds like, but it was right here as if someone's talking in my ear, and again a word, starting a word or sentence but getting cut off before the first word can start. So again, like a woman's voice, but this time going like, what did that, or something like that. And again, I looked around, and I remember, I remembered the last time it happened, because even as a kid, how do you fucking forget?
Right.
And then at that point, I went, hello? What, like, I looked around, and I mean, there's fucking nobody. I'm in the middle of the yard. Like, there's nobody. And unless it was like the fucking Flash, like could someone talk in my ear, and then just, no, it's, so, yeah, so that's one of those things where, I don't know, it was one of those things where when I think back, it's like there's a theory that children, because they're so much closer to whatever you are or wherever you are, before you're born, that's why a lot of shit, like more shit happens to kids than adults, because the children and toddlers are closer to wherever the all theory, but like wherever the paranormal shit that they're experiencing is from, and but they're closer to that realm than adults because of their age.
Can I tell?
Like, at this age, I'm more concrete. I'm now fully concrete in this life and this dimension, and children are much closer to that gate in between. So I think, that theory is that's why that, and that's what I thought about, because all this shit happened when I was a kid and stopped as I got older very quickly, and so that's what I think about is, okay, maybe because I was a kid, and also just because of the way my mind works and my imagination, my creativity, and just like my open-mindedness, I think that I have had forever. I think that like I was for some reason like more susceptible to that shit. Again, all theory, but totally possible. And sound in my eyes, considering the shit that I did experience. Even the stuff where I would question, stuff like that is instances like those two things, the voices, is without question. And even with me previously saying like, oh, like I've thought maybe I have like a touch of schizophrenia. Honestly, the paranormal aspect is way more probable than the second, because when you think about it, how many people are out there going like, I wonder if I have schizophrenia? Like, no, like, you're just a little fucked up maybe, but so. That's one of the things I went through. That's probably the most valid one.
No, thank you, Jim. That was awesome. Obviously, I want to interview you some more. This is pretty good for this video. Jim's got some more stories. Just a very interesting childhood. I mean, this guy, he's got a very interesting vibe in general. Like, he just had a lot of unique experiences.
The bottle.
Hold up. Maybe we should do.
No sponsorship.
No sponsorship. I'm zooming in. Why don't you give it a little show?
No sponsorship from Canadian Club Apple.
Canadian Club Apple.
This is merely to loosen up for the video. I do not drink out of a bottle usually.
He usually doesn't drink out of a bottle. I'll make that clear at the beginning of the video.
I'm a classy person.
He's classy. It looks kind of cool though. You're like, I'm telling you about my life.
Also, this is a special weekend.
It is a special weekend. I haven't seen this dude in a long time.
Fuck yourself.
There you go.
Like I'm having.
There you go. No judgment.
Judge me.
Don't judge Jim.
Viewer.
Don't judge Jim.
Don't judge me. Don't you judge me.
You judge Jim. You judge yourself.
You judge me. You get the.
You get it right in the face. Right in the.
You get old
slop.
Laurel and Hardy.
Laurel and Hardy.
You know, Abbott and Costello.
That was brilliant, Jim.
What's that movie? Velma and Louise.
Velma and the brilliant Jim. Thank you, Jim.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.